Some countries are more prone to be affected by crises than others. It's a matter of managing the crisis and turning it around to become an opportunity. We've seen live examples from the pandemic and its effect on different parts of the world. This included the developed countries who turned out to be totally unprepared for a major outbreak such as the COVID-19 that we have all been enduring. It seems that crisis preparedness is not just talk, but rather must be dealt with based on clear training and foresight. And of course, if you're dealing with a dozen crises at the same time, such as the case with this part of the world, then you are pretty sure to deal with them as a normal day-to-day event, or better yet, capitalize on them and turn them to opportunities. Good evening. You're watching the Business Insider here on Nile TV International. I'm Ayman Salah. Our weekly program tackles events affecting economies and business, and we aim to bring you the inside story. Welcome back. Let's start with our first news item for the week. The Central Bank of Egypt, known as the CBE, is not about to reverse its decision requiring importers to get letters of credit, or LCs, for their purchases. CBE Governor Tariq Amir urged businesses to comply with the new requirements and, quote, not waste time in controversy that has nothing to do with the stability and sound performance of Egypt's foreign trade, end quote. Heads of several industry groups have called on the government to reverse the decision, which the CBE notified banks of over the weekend. They argued that the move would cause supply issues, pressure production costs and local prices, and freeze SMEs out of the industry because it would be harder for them to obtain LCs. Branches of foreign companies and their subsidiaries do not have to abide by the new decision. The second news item we have for you is that Egypt's economy grew at 9% in the first half of 2021-2022. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said on Wednesday that an 8.3% growth was recorded during the second quarter of the current fiscal year. This figure is higher than previously expected, as Planning Minister Hala Said had signaled in December that GDP growth was forecast at 6 to 7% during the quarter. The government now expects GDP growth to come in at or above 6% in the third and fourth quarters. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Business Insider. Tonight we're discussing the petroleum industry in light of the Egypt's exhibition that is wrapping up its exhibition on Wednesday, and we're going to look into the difference between this year and the previous round of the show. With me tonight is Dr. Hussein Al-Ghazawi, an energy and industry expert. A pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's watch this report and then resume our discussion.
North Africa and the Mediterranean delivering energy today is the theme of the first edition of the EGPS 2022. The three-day energy exhibition and conference in North Africa and the Mediterranean region ends on Wednesday while launching a year of strategic energy dialogue to map out the transition of oil, gas and energy industry towards sustainability. The exhibition is viewed as a catalyst for investment and multi-sector cooperation across the oil and gas value chain, as it identifies opportunities from Egypt, North Africa and the Mediterranean's future project requirements and strategic priorities in the oil and gas sector. It also provides direct access to the primary stakeholders involved in detailing the region's upcoming project plans, budget allocations, timelines, technical challenges and opportunities to win contracts. This year, it featured more than 450 exhibitors and 25 national and international oil companies, as well as world-class companies and products from leading energy countries including China, Cyprus, Germany, Greece, Italy, Russia and the UAE. The conference hosted 11 international energy ministers, 19 CEOs, 8 secretary generals, who discussed long-term energy transition objectives in relation to regional energy markets, goals of self-sufficiency and sustainability in the short term. The shift to net zero is dependent on public and private sector cooperation and investment from oil and gas giants. To successfully harness a switch to net zero, the public sector must engage with their private sector partners. This year's visitor turnout is huge despite the spread of COVID-19, and the new companies have joined the exhibition, which signifies that the show means new business opportunities and is an important platform for stakeholders. The Egyptian Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, the main supporter of the annual event, estimated that the total investments in the oil and gas sectors from 2014 to 2020 hit $74 billion in Egypt. The country aims to become a regional hub for the trade of oil and liquefied natural gas after major discoveries were made in recent years, including the Zohr gas field in the Mediterranean, which holds an estimated 30 trillion cubic feet of gas.
Welcome back. Allow me to welcome once again Dr. Hussein Ghazawi, energy and industry expert. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
And to give us your insights into the oil and gas industry and the future of energy in the region and in the world. But first, let's start with the exhibition, Egypt's 2022. What's new?
It was very interesting, actually, to come back in person to see people. Nothing substitute for face-to-face discussion, interaction, networking. So I think it was very motivating to see the people start back to meet again. It was very busy. There is a lot of visitors. I witnessed all the four issue of the exhibition before. This is the fifth one.
This is the fifth one.
This is the fifth one. And I think we can safely say it's on the agenda as a major oil and gas and energy in general show in the world. There was a lot of companies, European, American, regional companies, and the diversity of also the session. It always rich with technical sessions, but also with youth forum was so talking about
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, the young generation, the health, safety, and environment. Definitely, the forum was important.
Digitalization,
energy transition, as well, the green energy. So, because it's a preparation, I think, for Egypt to host the COP27 this year in November. It's a big event in Sharm el-Sheikh. It's a big event, and we are presenting Africa, and His Excellency the President in the opening spoke about actually Africa and what it needed to be done for Africa to meet the challenges when it comes to energy, coupled with the energy transition as well.
All right, so self-sufficiency and sustainability are goals set by the region regarding this sector. How is this moving along?
For us in Egypt, or you'd like to talk about Africa?
Let's start with the region.
Okay.
Africa and Egypt.
Okay, so for us in Egypt, I think we are doing excellent when it comes to the gas. We reached self-sufficient in September 2018, and Egypt actually achieved in 2021 a record when it comes to LNG exports, the highest in 10 years. So this is a good news. Our two LNG facility in Idco and Damietta are working again, yet to reach 100% capacity, but I mean, most of its capacity is working. If I'm not mistaken, One of them exported 53 cargoes, the second exported 47 cargoes. It's a good number, what they have done in 2021. And the outlook as well for 2022 is good. Good news as well that we start exporting with the first shipment from Egypt to Holland, LNG shipment. So now we're getting to a new market in Europe, which we definitely have market in South Europe, but to Holland, that was new for us. As far as the oil concerned, production definitely went down because of COVID activity, no investment. And I think it was, the president highlights that in his introduction as well. Because of the COVID, no exploration, production went down, and now is the time to come. He met one of the major American investment company in the Western Desert, Apache, and actually he commented on their recent approach by increasing and double their investment in 2022. They had a record low for the rig number, and now they are tripling the rig again to reach to the peak of what they have achieved few years. They reached almost 200,000 barrels of oil per day. So actually the agility in the production sharing agreement, now we are making the agreement more attractive and for the investor to come, which I think it's very important. So also focusing on the Mediterranean, we need to explore again in the Mediterranean. We need to repeat the success of Zohr wells. As far as a region concerned, definitely Middle East is rich with oil and gas. Africa, yes, we rich with a lot of resources, but we have issues when it comes to energy. We talk about 580 million African without electricity, almost 900 million without a clean cooking fuel. And we know it's very disappointing number. And when you look at the mineral and natural resources Africa did, and I think we were talking about the infrastructure. It's not only the roads, but oil and gas infrastructure. What Egypt have achieved in the oil and gas infrastructure in the last 7 years. We talk about new facility, we talk about petrochemicals, we talk about upgrading our refinery capacity to 680,000 barrels, which is the highest in Africa and the fourth in this region. So in MENA region, correct. So there is a lot of things happening, and I think it's very important for us with the COP27 not to ignore what we are doing with renewable and as well as green hydrogen as well. Egypt is working on a long-term on a strategy for the green hydrogen, and I think it will be announced June this year, prior to the COP27.
All right, on that note, moving from fossil fuel to clean energy was on the agenda of Egypt. So what was the main highlight? The
main highlight is energy transition is very important, but it might take longer than we expect in some countries. And Africa will be definitely, I mean, you cannot, I mean, the infrastructure in Africa is an issue too. So lack of infrastructure and energy transition, it will take time. So we have to give a
challenge.
Major challenge. Egypt, I think we are in a very good position when it comes to that. We have reached 20% of our electricity requirement from renewable, so achieved our target a year ahead. It meant to be 2022, we did it in 2021. We have to reach to 32% by 2035. That's a very challenging, but I think we are gifted when it comes to the solar energy achieving. And I think we can say now comfortably we have the track records. I mean, we have the track record. We have major project like like Bimban, all this wind farms. So we have the track record, and I'm confident that we will reach our objectives. Green hydrogen, there is already agreement in place to produce 100 megawatts of the green hydrogen and convert it to green ammonia in Ain Sokhna, and that's hopefully will be up and running before the COP27 in November, which will be a major achievement for us in our preparation or road to the COP27.
So we have what to highlight in COP27.
Of course. That will be a major achievement and major highlight, and I'm confident with Egypt track record we'll have it done prior to the event take place.
Let's talk about the national hydrogen strategy and and Egypt's tackling hydrogen and CNG zones.
I think it's very important to have the strategy in place. Egypt already signed an MOU with a major advisory institute to work to help us with the strategy. There is a talk about almost $40 billion of investment in the green hydrogen. Egypt is going to commit by June 22 to produce 1.4 gigawatts which is significant from the green hydrogen. I think with the infrastructure we have done when it comes to electricity transmission, a few months ago, and during the president's visit to Greece, we signed this MOU to export electricity to Crete and to Greece mainland. So the Egypt surplus electricity will reach Europe mainland. I think that's a major achievement, and I think with the strategy Egypt is aiming for with the green hydrogen and renewable, I think we are qualified to export even the green energy to Europe with the
infrastructure.
With the infrastructure existing. I mean, for example, we export to Sudan now. It's about almost 100 megawatts. There is a lot of work is happening in Sudan to upgrade their network, but we have the capacity to export up to 300 megawatt. Libya, we talk about almost 250, 350 megawatt. Jordan signed the agreement in October with Saudi to have almost 3,000 megawatts to Saudi, and from Saudi to the rest of the GCC country. So it is actually very interesting. When we 2014, 2015, we had issues with the blackout with electricity. Now we have surplus. We exporting surplus and rigid and strong infrastructure to allow us to export. And I think also what Egypt has done is the diversity of the energy resources. We still, of course, use gas, but much cleaner than the oil which we used in the past. All our power station works with the gas now. We have the wind, we have solar, and we're working on having, of course, the nuclear in Daba as well, which is another clean source of energy, with, of course, all the safety precautions to be taken care of.
Which provides this country clout when it comes to calling for more investments, like we have the visit by the president to Belgium, to Brussels,
yes.
And his meetings with the different companies, major companies in different domains. So this infrastructure, you're setting the scene for further investments.
Of course, and as I mentioned earlier as well, we have also, with the infrastructure, which His Excellency said, we are spending on the infrastructure and all of this major project, $400 billion in the last 7 years. That's a significant number. In addition to that, our track record. If I go back to the oil and gas sector and industry, 7 years ago, we had up to $6 billion
arrears
to the foreign companies now is less than 400 million, which is a normal balance. It's always, there is almost, normally have to have this balance. So you gained the confidence of the investor. They know that they are getting their money and they get a good return on their money, on their investment. So I think I admire personally the effort done by His Excellency the President. He was in France on the weekend, came back, now is in Belgium, urging and encouraging the investor. I think nothing will substitute for having hear from His Excellency, giving the assurance and demonstrating the track record what Egypt have achieved.
Not only for Egypt, but also for Africa.
I think it's very important. Egypt is regaining our position in Africa. In his speech in Egypt, he spoke about Africa. He spoke about what the other countries need to help us with. Just to give us number, Africa need $110 billion per year for the energy infrastructure, energy project to meet its energy demands. If we look at the electricity produced in the world, Africa present 3% of electricity produced in the world. That's a very shy number, giving our resources. And where is the most of this electricity coming from? From the North, Egypt, of course, and the rest of North Africa and South Africa, a bit in East Africa. But 3% of the total world electricity, that's a very shy number. So right. Egypt, Africa need a lot of investment, and Egypt
and has a lot of opportunity.
And has a lot of opportunity as well.
Let's tackle the youth engagement program that was focused on, that was highlighted during Egypt's focusing on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, to ultimately encourage young people to enter this domain. How is this going along?
Actually, I was involved in the same. In the first use was done in similar conference in Abu Dhabi a few years ago, and I think it's very important to demonstrate to youth and talk to them and getting them engaged. They are the future, and I think awareness and I actually feel the passion and the motivation talking to all these young guys. So it is very important, because with all my years in oil and gas industry, it's still a very interesting industry. I know time is changing, but energy industry, it's very important industry, and it lost in the last few years the attraction, and not many people actually like to study now, but we will need people. We will need people for.
So the program is getting young resources, young people to enter, so as to make up for the different generations.
Correct.
If you will.
You need that, and we need more people to join the scientific. We need more technical people, not only the oil and gas, in the industry in general. We see a lot of people go to study, and I'm not against study economy or study other subject, but it's
but
very,
you need the resources to carry on the industry.
to carry on the industry. I mean, it's of course we need economists, but we need also engineers to
and you need calibers that are capable of utilizing the latest technology, and I believe digitization was one of the main highlights.
Of course,
the main
of course. So, come with it, of course, is the digitalization. The digital transformation, in general, is very important. And I think what we have seen with the COVID as well accelerated the digital transformation. We are again with our position between the entire world, Europe, Africa, and Asia. A lot of data comes through Egypt with artificial intelligence, with the machine learning, with the digitalization in general. There is a lot, and that definitely was one of the main subjects. we were speaking with and talking with the youth. I witnessed them today. Was very interesting and motivating, actually.
Transforming the industry through digitalization, how's this going along?
Is going. I think Egypt in the oil and gas sector did a lot of steps now. For example, the Egypt Gateway, that's a platform for the new concessions. It's all for anybody would like to come and explore in Egypt. It's all now digital.
You mean the Egypt Gateway platform that's on the internet?
It's on the internet through the Ministry of Petroleum. So the data, and you can access the data, and there is a different tier of subscription where the data can access. It's a data room for each concession. So, and that also improves the transparency of the system in even giving the COVID-19 situation and economy recession. The last bid round for the West Mediterranean, which is, we haven't even drilled in the West Mediterranean, was very good. Major company participated, and 8 concessions were awarded. So, and that I strongly believe that this Egypt Gateway, the transformation or digital transformation in the industry, was one of the reasons definitely helped Egypt in the last bid round compared to others haven't done that step. So that's one of them. And we other digital transformation and digital platform. Now the gas cylinder, for those doesn't have natural gas at home, it's all monitored. So now you know that which area need more cylinder. So you monitor actually each cylinder from the time it leaves the refinery till it reaches the consumer. So I just mentioned that the simple example. If you allow me, with the natural gas, Egypt, we reached 13 million households with natural gas, almost 100,000 household units per month. So I think that's as back again to the infrastructure, significant infrastructure. If we take a round figure of 5 people per household, talk about 65 million, or even more if more than 5 people with natural gas. I think that's a very good example that Egypt should be proud of.
Significant.
It is.
Very, very significant. On another note, how is the situation with the concessions going along in the Red Sea?
It already awarded, and actually major American company top blocks, and also European company with regional company from the area as well. And I had actually on the side of Egypt's discussion with some of this company, and they are started the seismic for some of this concession in preparation for starting the drilling and exploration activity. So
we can expect some announcements soon?
Well, we are at the seismic acquisition phases right now. So the 3D seismic, so you need to some of the data are processing the data and reprocessing of the old data with the new technology. I was personally involved in that before, and once you have that done, starting the drilling operation to explore. Probably in the coming 2-3 years, I think we'll have a good news when it comes to the potential of Egypt in the Red Sea. Our neighbors, Saudi, on the other side, they had good shows, good discoveries. So I'm confident that we will have some success, inshallah, as well for the Red Sea.
Okay, to wrap up, you talked about the UN COP27 climate change conference in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt in November. The significance of this event, this major gathering for Egypt, and also the main challenges facing the world.
I think Egypt is going to use the COP27 to talk about the rest of Africa. There is, I think, a lot of challenges when it comes to energy in Africa. we will be voicing Africa and presenting Africa in that. And I like the way actually the president put it yesterday when he said that we have 1.3 billion people in Africa. There will be 1.5 in probably 10 years. You need to create a good market where by improving the quality of life of the people, provide them with energy, provide them with clean cooking fuel. To lose 500,000 people every year because of the house pollution by using wood or others, that's something need to stop. So if you have this strong or big market of 1.5 billion people, all the factories in Europe and in China will have actually
a market
for their people. So I think it's a good venue for Africa and for Egypt to present our situation, and also it's a good venue for Egypt with our track record to demonstrate what we have done in the infrastructure, from shortage of electricity to surplus, the roads, the ports. I mean, there is many examples. One tunnel below Suez Canal, now we have 6 tunnels. This is all the water recycle Egypt among the biggest country in the world when it comes to water.
Desalination, I mean.
Desalination and recycle. We're recycling our water. All this 2 million hectares we are planning to, we are recycling our water because we have limited water resources. So there is Bahr al-Bahr recycle 5 million cubic meter per day. It is the biggest in the world. So I think we have a lot of good story to tell, and definitely Egypt energy hub, not only energy, oil and gas, electricity, and green hydrogen of the future for the North Africa and Middle East.
On that note, we have to wrap up. Dr. Hussein El-Ghazawi, energy and industry expert. Always a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayman.
In Business Insider. Thank you for watching. I'm Ayman Salah. Good night.